Guys, we are live on TikTok. We are live on YouTube. About to be joining another best ball draft. We're going to be back at it. Some echo here. That should solve that. We are live on YouTube. We are live on TikTok. About to be joining another $25 best ball draft. We do not do mock drafts. We do real drafts here. What's going on in the comments? I see Bino Benny is here. We are about to be on YouTube doing another live best ball draft. Go to the YouTube, a link in the TikTok bio if you want to follow along with the draft board. Why are you wearing that shirt? I played soccer at Ithaca, man. I am forever a Bomber. We are joining right now. Let's see how many people we are waiting for. We got 9 more spots to fill. We have some rookie contracts getting signed today. A lot of NFL news starting to trickle in. I'm going to be doing at least one of these drafts every single week from here on out. Again, we are about to do a real draft, $25 best ball draft over on Underdog. I'm chasing a $2 million prize. A $2 million prize is what I'm chasing. What's going on, Kylo? Great to see you in the YouTube live. We're live on TikTok and YouTube right now. The first thing I want to talk about on today's stream is none other than Saquon Barkley. We got to talk about Saquon Barkley. We have to discuss Saquon Barkley. Right now, he's being drafted as the 14th running back off the board. Saquon Barkley, if healthy, and I know this is a big if, we'll get to that in a second. If Saquon Barkley is healthy, he finishes as a top 10 running back in fantasy football, hands down. There's no question asked. Look at his first 2 years. He averages, in his rookie season, finishes in terms of fantasy points per game, top 5, especially in PPR leagues. But what this really comes down to, and I'm seeing this more and more this year than I think any other year. It's been a thing for a while. But people overestimate their ability to predict injuries. Every single player has a risk of injury. Do some players have higher risk of injuries than others? Of course. Running back is the most injury-prone position, arguably, in all of sports. But remember last offseason, you hear about Jerry Jeudy? I didn't hear anything about Jerry Jeudy. Are we being serious right now? We're going to look this up right now on stream. Jerry Jeudy was arrested on unknown charges. Judy's reportedly in custody. We are sorry for the vagueness, but Jeudy has yet to be formally booked. So the Denver media is lacking for other information. Jerry Jeudy was arrested. I'm not from Michigan. I'm from Boston. We will obviously update the situation as we know more. It should not take long. Oh, God. Not good, guys. This is just in. Literally less than 15 minutes ago. Jerry Jeudy has been arrested. There is literally no other details. No details. So we're not going to speculate. But it's obviously not good. What do you have against Browns Walterpicks? By the way, we are doing a live best ball draft right now on YouTube. There's 5 more people that I have to fill. This is a $25 draft. This is a real draft. I don't do mock drafts. I do real drafts. And that's happening on YouTube in probably the next couple of minutes. We got 2 more spots to fill. If you are interested in drafting on Underdog, best ball drafts, there's no in-season management. All you're doing is the draft. Your best lineup's automatically submitted for you at the end of each week. And the first place prize, guys, for this contest, $2 million. This is the biggest fantasy football contest of all time. And I'm going to do everything I can to win. I'm chasing the $2 million first play prize. Did you play soccer at Ithaca? Yes, I did. That's why I'm wearing an Ithaca soccer shirt. Played there for 4 years, was captain for 2. I played outside back. The first 3 years, I got promoted to winger in my final season. I scored a total of 2 goals. I was more of a defensive player. But yes, I did. Good times. Yeah, so the breaking news, literally just 15 minutes ago, I Found out about it, as usual, through the chat on live about 5 minutes ago. Jerry Jeudy arrested. There's literally no other details than that. We don't know what he was arrested for. We know nothing. Other than that, it's not good. That's really all we know. I'm about to do a real draft. By the way, there's only one more spot about to fill. If you want to watch live, come to the YouTube live. I see we got 10 people in here. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy, guys, he got arrested. That's literally all we know. Chat, keep me updated on the details of the Jerry Jeudy situation because he's about to get drafted in this draft I'm about to do. This is why it's very tough. And I swear, I've gotten the 8th through 10th pick in almost every draft. We got the 10th pick in this draft. 10th pick in this draft. We just filled 10th pick in this draft. Again, I'm drafting live on YouTube. Link is in the TikTok bio. I would love to do a dynasty draft with you. I would be down. We're going to be launching our Discord soon. And in our Discord, you're going to be able to find leagues very fast. And I'm going to be joining a lot of those, I'm sure. I do not go to IC. I used to go to IC. I graduated in 2019. We got the 10th pick in this draft. The 10th pick in this $25 underdog best ball draft. And at pick 10, we know for sure Jonathan Taylor's going to be gone. Cooper Kupp's going to be on. Christian McCaffrey is going to be gone. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson will be gone. Derrick Henry will be gone. Austin Eckler will probably be gone too. We're looking at like Najee Harris, Devontae Adams in this range. Guys, Jerry Jeudy did get arrested. Yes. We have no other details. He got arrested, though. And, guys, if you are watching live on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Helps me out a ton. And, again, you can literally watch the draft live. I'm doing a real draft right now, live on YouTube. You can literally see the draft board if you just come to the YouTube. First 3 picks, we went Jonathan Taylor, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. I'm very interested to see where Jerry Jeudy goes. What is this for? This is on Underdog. It's a $25 best ball draft. I'm chasing a $2 million prize right now. First place gets $2 million. There's about 500,000 people competing in this. But in my draft right now, there's 12. And first step to winning the $2 million prize is winning your league. I have the 10th pick. Christian McCaffrey going 4th overall, by the way, is an absolute joke. Christian McCaffrey should be going 2nd overall in every single draft. Every single draft. We just finished our very first round of projections, per game projections for this upcoming season. Guess who was number 1? And it really wasn't even close. It was Christian McCaffrey, projected for 26 fantasy points per game, which, by the way, is below his career average. We have Christian McCaffrey projected below his career average per game this season, and he's still by far the highest projected running back. I'm still going to take Jonathan Taylor over him 1st overall, but after that, it has to be Christian McCaffrey. No excuses. According to the Yahoo average draft position, which just launched, by the way, McCaffrey's going like 6 through 10 in those drafts. That makes no sense. He went 4th in the draft I'm doing now. It's an absolute steal. Anything at 2 or later, you need to be drafting Christian McCaffrey. And I get it's the same thing with Saquon. I get it, the injury concerns. Every running back has a chance of getting injured. Jonathan Taylor has a chance of getting injured. Is McCaffrey's chance a little bit higher? Sure. I'm taking Devontae. I feel like I'm taking Devontae Adams a lot in these drafts, but I'm not running away from the narrative that Devontae Adams will be just about as good in fantasy on the Raiders as he was with the Packers. The targets are going to be there for Devontae Adams. The touchdowns are going to be there for Devontae Adams. Derek Carr is going to love Devontae Adams about as much as Aaron Rodgers did. I took Devontae Adams at 10th overall. I'm starting with the wide receiver here. Dalvin Cook was still on the board, and I went with Devontae Adams. With my next 2 picks, or with my next pick, I'll probably go with one of these 3 guys. Joe Mixon gets snagged, so I'm going to go with CeeDee Lamb or Deebo Samuel. Didn't I start with 4 straight wide receivers the last time I did live? But I was at the back end of the draft again. We're going with CD. I'm not hesitating. Starting wide receiver. We're not going to go 4 straight wide receivers this time, though. We're not going to do that. Who do I trade Zeke for? Are you talking about a dynasty league? Because good luck trading Zeke in a dynasty league. Good luck trading him. At this point, honestly, you have to hold on to Zeke. And I'm in a live best ball draft right now on Underdog, $25 draft. This is not a mock draft. This is a real draft. Again, you can come see the draft board. You can come see the draft board on YouTube. Link is in the TikTok bio. And you're going to see in this draft, Ezekiel Elliott, he's going to go in probably around the 4th round. Look where he is on this running back list. He's behind Cam Akers. He's behind David Montgomery. He's 1 spot ahead of J.K. Dobbins, Breece Hall. Ezekiel Elliott looked bad last season, and it got worse as the season went along. But when you really look at the numbers, the season wasn't that bad. He now has a full offseason to recover. He still has one of the highest contracts among running backs in the league. As long as he stays healthy, he's probably going to be a top 12 running back in fantasy on what should be a top 5 offense in the NFL. So I get the concerns, but it feels like the concerns are more than baked into his current cost. So yeah, I'm still going to be drafting Zeke at his cost. Again, it's the 4th round of a 12-person league. Thoughts on Saquon Barkley? Yeah, so Saquon Barkley, again, if you're watching live on YouTube, I'm doing a live draft right now, $25 draft, which is honestly it's the best way. The best way to see actual real-time player value is doing real drafts with real money on the line. That's what I'm doing right now. These are my batting practice drafts. I'll be doing probably about one of these every single day for the next 120 days leading up to the NFL season. But I'll be live at least once a week doing one. And you're going to see in this draft, Saquon Barkley is about to get picked. All of these running backs getting taken ahead of Saquon Barkley. Joe Mixon taken way before Saquon. Javonte Williams, DeAndre Swift, Aaron Jones taken way before Saquon Barkley. Leonard Fournette just got taken before Saquon. He's the next running back off the board, most likely. And I will take him with my pick if he's there. But in the 3rd round, yes, sign me up for Saquon Barkley. Sign me up for Saquon Barkley. Again, people overestimate their ability to predict injuries. You don't know who's going to get hurt. Is Saquon at a higher likelihood than other guys? Yeah, he is. But how much higher, really? Running back is the most injury-prone position in all of sports. Saquon is locked in to a pretty big workload. And the other thing with Saquon Barkley is he's in the final year of his contract. There has never been a more obvious time for the Giants to give Saquon all of the touches he can handle. And there's also never been a more important year for Saquon himself. So the Giants are incentivized to give him a lot of touches. Saquon is the most incentivized that he's ever been to stay healthy and perform. And he's also one of the most athletic running backs in the history of the NFL. So yeah, I'm going to take him in the 3rd round. The bigger concern for me about Saquon Barkley isn't the injuries. It's just that the Giants are terrible. The offense is bad. There's going to be not very many touchdowns to go around. All right, I'm back on the clock. And this is what happened to me last time, guys. This is what happened to me last time. And I went wide receiver with this pick because you look at the running backs left, and they're not great. I honestly think I might take Zeke with my next running back pick. But I'm going to draft Cam Akers here. Cam Akers has been sliding a lot in these drafts. But we know the Rams like to do a one running back approach. This has been a thing for Sean McVay going back to Todd Gurley. Jerry Jeudy just got picked, by the way, in this draft in the 3rd round. Jerry Jeudy just got picked. Arrested. Literally, that report came about 30 minutes ago now. We don't know any other details, but I wouldn't be picking him in the 3rd round. If anything, this should be a boost for Courtland Sutton, at least for the time being, until we get more information. Part of me wants to take Zeke with this pick. I've also been drafting Amari Cooper a lot in these drafts. I'm going for it. I took Zeke in the 4th round. So far, through 4 rounds, I had the 10th overall pick. I got Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Cam Akers, Zeke. Again, if you're watching live on TikTok, you can literally see the live draft board as it's happening. Real $25 best ball draft going on right now on the YouTube live. Link is in the TikTok bio. And if you are watching live on YouTube, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Hit that like button and subscribe button. I promise you, it helped me way more than you realize. Way more than you realize. Thank you so much for tuning in. We are 4 rounds in. We're going to be live for at least another 40 minutes. PPR Keeper League, Cam Akers 12th, Chase Edmonds 11th. Yeah, it's got to be Cam Akers. Has to be Cam Akers. Because Chase Edmonds isn't the obvious running back 1 in that offense. And it's probably going to be a rotating situation throughout the season. He got paid the most. But Cam Akers heading into the season, at least right now, is the lead running back for the Rams. It's just him and Darrell Henderson. That's it. They lost Sony Michel this offseason, who, by the way, joined Chase Edmonds' team, who Raheem Mostert is there as well. There's a lot of mouths to feed in Miami. I feel much more comfortable with Cam Akers than Chase Edmonds. I do actually like Chase Edmonds too, but the cost is nowhere near the same. Chase Edmonds is going in 12-team leagues. He's going in like round 9, round 10. Cam Akers is going round 3, round 4. So for sure, it's Cam Akers. Cortland Sutton goes in the 4th round, by the way. Someone took Jerry Jeudy in the 3rd round. They must not have seen the news recently. But Cortland Sutton could end up being a snag. Cortland Sutton will become a 3rd round receiver if Jerry Jeudy is, for whatever reason, out. Again, there's no other updates. I'm waiting on the chat to update me, TikTok chat or YouTube chat, to update me on the Jerry Jeudy situation because I'm in a live draft right now. I cannot look at the news. Juju's going in the 5th round. That was way too early. That was way too early for Juju right there. What year will the Falcons make the playoffs? At least another 2 years. The only chance that it's less than 3 years is if Desmond Ridder works out, which is kind of a long shot. Brian Fickman, great pick. Yeah, I've been drafting a lot of Devontae Adams. If we just go here really quickly, look at this. If you're watching live on YouTube, take a quick look at this. That's not it. If we look at my exposure, let's see. This doesn't seem right. I don't think this is accurate. I definitely drafted more receivers than this. Anyways, I've drafted him a lot. I've drafted Devontae Adams a lot. I'll find that later. But yeah, Devontae Adams is one of my most. Minus $25 for that guy. Yeah, I mean, this is why it's nice to be it's always good to have guys like that in your draft, by the way. Every one person in your draft that either has like horrible roster construction or just drafts at insane average draft positions, like drafting Jerry Jeudy in the 3rd round or Juju in the 5th, for example, basically raises your odds by about 10% to win your league. Right? You're basically competing with one less person. Instead of competing against 11 people, I'm competing against 10 now because that guy took Jerry Jeudy. Potentially. He will not be happy when he sees that news. But yeah, no, you want the other people drafting with you to make mistakes. Oh man, I feel like I got to take Elijah Mitchell. I've been taking Etienne over Elijah Mitchell. This is a half PPR league though. Elijah Mitchell is probably going to average around 18 carries a game this year. We were just looking at his projection today, and we're about to release our 2022 projections for the upcoming season, all per game projections. And Elijah Mitchell was one of those guys that surprised us. Because when Elijah Mitchell plays, and by the way, the 49ers are going to be and have been one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL. When Elijah Mitchell plays, and he's obviously got to stay healthy, he's seeing over 15 carries in almost every single game in a pretty good offense. I have more concerns about the Jaguars offense than I do about the 49ers. What's up with Cook in Buffalo? How much action there? Yeah, I'm not very into him in season-long fantasy, at least for this year. Maybe in Dynasty I could see the case for the upside. But this year, James Cook, he's the rookie drafted by the Buffalo Bills. I'm not expecting very much. Devin Singletary's, I expect to still be the lead back. And I think Duke Johnson and Zach Moss will probably be involved at times as well. Now, obviously, Josh Allen is going to steal a lot of the touchdowns there too, which just devalues that whole backfield so much. Again, if you're watching live on YouTube, guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We'll be doing these every single week. This is just the very beginning of a very long and exciting offseason. I'm doing these every single week. I'm max entering this contest, $25 entry fee. I'm going to be doing 150 of these. And we're going for the first place prize. Last year I went for the first place prize of $1 million. I max entered last year. I didn't get any teams past the first round. I made a big mistake in terms of roster construction last year. I didn't diversify roster construction a lot. In almost all my teams, I had 3 or 4 running backs. Pretty high, fragile roster construction. This year on most of my teams, I'm going to have 5 or 6 running backs. I'm aiming for my ideal roster construction for these after the analysis that I've run through. The ideal roster construction, there's 18 rounds, 12 teams. You see, too, the thing you need to understand about this, too, is you start 3 receivers, which means each week you could start 4 wide receivers. You should draft more wide receivers than any other position. But running backs can play in that flex spot, too, and obviously running backs are really injury prone. So the optimal roster construction is 3 quarterbacks, unless you're going to invest early draft capital in 1 or 2 of them. You're going with 3 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, 6 running backs, 7 receivers. That should add up to 18. I think that's optimal. I'm going to have some teams with 5 running backs, 8 receivers, and some teams with 2 quarterbacks and another receiver as well, depending on how early I draft a quarterback. By the way, the best value quarterback right now this season, it's Jalen Hurts. He's risen a lot already. He went 6th as the 6th QB this year. Jalen Hurts is one of the safest every single week, one of the safest quarterbacks in the league. And then he adds A.J. Brown on top of that. We have Jalen Hurts, I think, projected as our 3rd or 4th quarterback this season. Yeah, so Jerry Jeudy was arrested. How much did you win best ball last season? I actually didn't win per se. As last year, I invested about $5,000 into best ball drafts, but I was also, again, remember, I was taking a very highly fragile approach, high upside, high fragile approach. And I got a return of about half of it. So I spent about $5,000 on best ball drafts and made about $2,500 back. Had only like, I don't think I had a single team advance to the 2nd round of advancement. So I had a bunch of teams, I think 20 maybe advance. Not a bad advancement rate, actually, especially when you consider my fragile roster construction. Again, I had 3 or 4 running backs on most teams. And I also did way too many drafts early. I'm trying to do better with that. I'm just going more slow this year. Last year, I was doing like 3 best ball drafts a day at this time. This year, I'm doing 1 a day as we get closer to the season. There's less than 150 days, so we should be on a good track. And I had Cam Akers on literally 4th of my teams last year because I was drafting so early. So that was also pretty bad considering my roster construction of 3 running backs. What time is the fantasy draft? I'm already drafting. I'm already doing a fantasy draft. If you're on the TikTok Live, come to the YouTube Live. You can literally see the draft as it's happening. Okay. We're back on the clock. I think I'm going to go with Clyde here. I have 3 running backs so far. I don't hate going TJ Hawkinson either. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire is another one of those guys, another one of those names. I feel like these are the names I go for. And these are the types of names that there is probably half of all fantasy players out there, around half, hear the name Clyde Edwards-Helaire and their instant reaction is, I will never draft that guy again in fantasy football. They don't even think about his cost or this year's situation. Just instantly they hear that name and they just feel pain and say, I'll never draft. All right, I think I'm going to take Hawkinson now. I hit a 114. There's about to be a pretty big drop off at running back. But I'm going to wait. Going Christian Kirk instead. Christian Kirk is also developing into. I took him over Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. I love how Christian Watson's up here too, in the average draft position. The thing people don't realize about Christian Kirk, and I'm going to be making a video about Christian Kirk probably by the end of this week. That's going to be in the playerprofiler.com draft kit this year. Last year, I did Christian McCaffrey for them, and we all know how that went. But this year, I'm doing Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk, guys. I understand, like, the contract was not good for Christian Kirk in real football. But there's only a few times of year where teams really tell you what they're thinking. Again, we're doing a live draft on YouTube. You can come see the draft live as it's happening. I just took Christian Kirk in the 8th round of this draft. A little bit of a reach, but I'm explaining why right now. There's only 3 times a year, 2 times a year, that the NFL teams tell us what they're thinking. It is in free agency and in the draft. in free agency and in the draft. This is when they tell us with the money and draft capital that they are spending, what they are thinking. And it's very clear that the Jaguars view Christian Kirk as their number one wide receiver. Meanwhile, he got picked in this draft 2 picks before Christian Watson, before Garrett Wilson. Will either of those guys be the number one on their team? There's a lot less certainty there. Especially in a best ball draft, I will not have to play the game of which week Christian Kirk is going to blow up. The targets will be there for Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is probably going to have by far the most targets he's had in his career this season. Just based on what he was paid. I didn't like the signing for the Jaguars. It's a pretty redundant signing. Christian Kirk and Marvin Jones fill a very similar role. But I feel very confident if Christian Kirk stays healthy this season, he's leading that team in targets pretty easily. How do we find YouTube Live Draft? Go to the TikTok bio, right in the TikTok bio, or just look up Walterpicks on YouTube. Just look up Walterpicks on YouTube. You can see the draft as it's happening. Sky Moore, 7th round. That's insane. The rookies are starting to rise up the draft board. People are getting rookie fever. And it's the Jamar Chase effect. This is what's going to happen. It's only going to get worse as we get closer to the season. As we get closer to the season, the rookie hype is going to build. And there's only going to be more and more and more and more rookies being drafted earlier. Look at this. Sky Moore went in the 7th round. Traylon Burks went in the 6th round. Drake London went in the 6th round. It's the Jamar Chase effect. Jamar Chase, I think, was going in the 3rd or 4th round by the time the season rolled around last year. And obviously that paid off in a big way. None of these guys are Jamar Chase, though. That's what we got to understand about these rookies. They're all good. Like, this is a very good wide receiver class. There's going to be a lot of great wide receivers from this class. None of them are going to be as good as Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase just had the best rookie wide receiver season of all time. So, like, you got to temper your expectations a little bit. And the ADPs are getting a little out of control. What are the chances Kyle Pitts ends his career as the GOAT tight end? It's going to be pretty tough, but not impossible. It's going to be pretty tough, though, for him to catch Travis Kelce and Gronk, who I would argue are the top 2 tight ends of all time. To me, honestly, it's probably Gronk. The reason I think it's Gronk is the blocking, and I don't think Kyle Pitts will ever be able to compete with that. But if we're talking strictly receiving tight end, it's probably Kelce. But Kelce finds himself tethered to one of the best young quarterbacks ever. And that's not the situation Kyle Pitts is in. Obviously, that can change, and tight ends can have really long careers. I think Kelce's in his low to mid 30s now, but it's going to be pretty tough. I would put the odds at like under 10%. All right, we're back up on the clock here. Dallas Goedert's still there. Gronk is still there too. I kind of want to. Last time I waited too long on tight end though, if you guys recall. So I'm going to go with Goddard here. He's obviously sliding because of the A.J. Brown signing. But Goddard's going to be probably number 2 in targets on the Eagles this year. Gronk, the GOAT tight end. Yeah, the thing you got to understand about Gronk when in the GOAT tight end discussion, Rob Gronkowski was basically as good at blocking as offensive lineman at the peak of his career. And in the last year as a Patriot, he basically played as an offensive lineman. And he was doing a good job at it. But that's how good at blocking he is. Then you add in what he was as a receiver. It's just insane what he adds to an offense. Desean versus, I'm going to take Stafford. All right, so we are through the first 10 rounds. I'm feeling pretty good about the roster we got going so far. I don't really love that I have Stafford and K-Makers, but that's okay. We have 4 receivers. Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, Michael Thomas, Christian Kirk. We have 4 running backs. Cam Akers, Ezekiel Elliott, Elijah Mitchell, Clyde. I love where we got Elijah Mitchell. Round 6, Elijah Mitchell. You can sign me up for that. And then I just snagged my first tight end quarterback, Dallas Goedert, Matthew Stafford. Thoughts on Judy? Again, we don't have any information other than that he was arrested. That's literally all we know. There's been no further update. So my thoughts, it's not good. It's not good. Last year should have been the breakout Jerry Jeudy season. I was drafting him consistently in round 7, round 6 last year. Round 8, I think he was even falling to at times. Obviously, the injury ruins that. This season, there's so much potential, Jerry Jeudy. You have one of the most efficient quarterbacks of all time joining your team. Russell Wilson has had at least a 6% touchdown rate each of the last 4 years. That's double the league average each of the last 4 years in terms of touchdown efficiency for Russell Wilson. That is insane. But Jerry Jeudy got arrested. He got arrested. We don't know for what or how bad the arrest is. We don't know anything other than he got arrested. So we're going to wait. We're going to wait on more information before any hard takes there. But it's definitely not good. Which rookie receiver are you most excited about? This is a great one, Jeff. I'd say I'm probably most excited. I'm probably most excited to see how Christian Watson does. I think I'm most excited to see how Christian Watson does. He, to me, is the most wild card rookie of all of them. Like Christian Watson could literally not even make the starting lineup for the Packers, and he also could lead them in targets this season. There's such a wide range of outcomes for Christian Watson. I think I'm most excited to see where that goes. In terms of like most excited and confident about this year, though, I'm most excited and confident for Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Chris Olave. And Chris Olave is the one I think people are sleeping on the most. Chris Olave is a Stephon Diggs type route runner. He is the entire route tree in his capabilities. It's going to fit perfectly with Michael Thomas, who has one route in his route tree. I'm excited to see how Chris Olave pans out as well. I don't think Chris Olave has the same ceiling as Garrett Wilson, just in terms of as a player. But I think he has arguably a better floor. I'm very excited to see how Chris Olave plays out. All the rookies, though, will be really exciting to watch. The other rookie I'm very excited to see is Breece Hall, who's basically Saquon Barkley, but 4 years younger and no injury history. He literally tested better than Saquon Barkley, the most athletic running back, arguably, in the history of the NFL, after maybe Bo Jackson. He tested better than Saquon Barkley at the Combine. I posted a video about the Jets on the Jets.Walterpicks account this week, saying how the Jets literally have the potential to be a top 10 talented offense if you just ignored Zach Wilson, or if Zach Wilson took a big step this year. But Breece Hall is a Saquon Barkley type of prospect. And there were a bunch of comments like, oh no, we don't want Breece Hall to be Saquon Barkley. That's not what I said. I didn't say Breece Hall is going to be Saquon Barkley. He's a Saquon Barkley type prospect. That is a very good thing. Saquon Barkley was one of the best running back prospects of all time. Obviously, the Giants took him way too early. But regardless, he is one of the best running back prospects of all time. He had the athleticism. He had the college production. That's exactly what Breece Hall has. All right, we're going with Okwenubaum. We are going to be projecting Albert Okwenubaum, especially after this Jerry Jeudy news. I mean, it's even better for him now, potentially at least. We're going to have him projected ahead of Dawson Knox, who was literally picked 3 rounds earlier. John Mechie. Someone says in the TikTok live they're excited to see John Mechie. Yeah, I don't see the path to targets, though, for John Mechie in year 1. Breece Hall and J.K. Dobbins are the running backs I'm aiming for in all drafts. I don't hate it. I'm very excited to – I think I'm more than the rookies. I'm excited to see some of the guys that were injured and are coming back. I kind of want to get the Trevor Lawrence stack with Christian Kirk. It's probably a tad early for that, though. All right, we have 2 quarterbacks now. I honestly might not draft a 3rd quarterback on this team because I've taken 2 before the first. Maybe at the very end of the draft I will. I'm done drafting tight ends. It's wide receiver, running backs pretty much rest of the way now. But this is the middle rounds, I think, are the times to be snagging the quarterbacks and tight ends. You see how I did this? Again, I'm live on YouTube right now doing a live $25 best ball draft. If you're watching live on TikTok, come on over to the YouTube live. You can see the draft board. In rounds 9 through 12, I went tight end, quarterback, tight end, quarterback. These are the value rounds for tight ends and quarterbacks. Tim Patrick went much earlier than usual based off this Jerry Jeudy news as well. William Fuller. When did we stop calling Will Fuller? When did we start calling Will Fuller William Fuller? Maybe this is what William Fuller needed. It's just the correct pronunciation of his full name. He's going to get signed, by the way. Will Fuller is getting signed before the season starts. And when that happens, if he lands in the right spot, his average draft position is going to absolutely explode. There's a chance that we see Will Fuller drafted in like the 6th, 7th, 8th round in a few months from now. Oh, man. The chat's updating me about the Jerry Jeudy situation. Criminal tampering and domestic violence. That does not sound good, Brian. That does not sound good. It sounds very bad. It sounds honestly a lot worse than I was expecting or hoping. We're gonna have to see how it plays out, obviously, for fantasy purposes, but really, really bad situation for Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy charged the charges for Jerry Jeudy. Criminal tampering and domestic violence. Does not sound good. That does not sound good. The charges announced for Jerry Jeudy. Yeah, see, I don't know what this means, Taylor. I don't know the criminal lingo. Hopefully I'll never need to know. But I'll definitely be reading tonight about what this actually means for Jerry Jeudy, how bad this is, and whether or not he's going to play or get suspended this year is obviously going to be important for fantasy purposes. But, I mean, it's not good. It's definitely not good for Jerry Jeudy, for the NFL, for fantasy, nothing. It's not good. Yeah, it's not too specific, but it's something. Any thoughts on Deshaun Watson for fantasy? Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson, talent-wise, is still a top 6 quarterback in the NFL. He's going to be on a really run-heavy team, though. That's the thing. So he's not going to be as good as he was, I don't think, on the Houston Texans for fantasy purposes. He was drafted in the 11th round, though, in this draft. Like, in the 11th round, that's not going to be terrible. He's probably going to go earlier than that, though, in traditional leagues. Oh, and I'm on the clock. And we're going with DJ Chark. Alec Pierce has already gotten some hype. He's a rookie as well for the Indianapolis Colts. He's already getting some hype as the clear wide receiver 2 for the Indianapolis Colts, and I see it. There's not very much competition for that number 2 wide receiver position for the Colts. He's a guy I like a lot, though. I definitely will take Marvin Jones and complete this Trevor Lawrence stack. We are in round 14 right now. We have 5 more picks. 5 picks left in this draft. Pretty good draft so far. I'm feeling pretty good about this team. Yeah, good note at the end here. Again, thank you, chat, for updating me on the Jerry Jeudy situation. That's literally happening, unfolding as we are live drafting right now. But the last point here is obviously important. Innocent until proven guilty. That's, a thing. That is how our criminal system works. But these are literally just charges, so hopefully things will work out for Jerry Jeudy, and hopefully he didn't do anything terrible. So is Hamler the new pickup after Jeudy being arrested? We got to wait and see. Tim Patrick would be a bigger boost, though, in my mind, than KJ Hamler. Tim Patrick is ahead of KJ Hamler on the depth chart. I know KJ Hamler recently said, and there was this report, KJ Hamler saying he wants to play the Tyler Lockett role for Russell Wilson. Who doesn't want to play the Tyler Lockett role for Russell Wilson? You mean, I'll play the role of the most efficient wide receiver in the league for one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the league? Yeah, I'll just take that role. Yeah, sounds good, KJ Hamler. Tim Patrick is ahead of KJ Hamler on the depth chart. He's already shown production. Obviously, KJ Hamler's dealt with injuries. KJ Hamler has the speed of Tyler Lockett, though, which is exciting. That comparison I like. Like KJ Hamler is closer to Tyler Lockett than Tim Patrick is, but Tim Patrick's still better than KJ Hamler. So I would probably be more excited for Tim Patrick and Cortland Sutton and Albert Okwuegbunam, and then KJ Hamler also will get a bump. What's up, Kev? My name is Sam. Classic mistake. Walter is the AI algorithm I helped build that powers the Walterpicks app. Check it out. It's going to help you dominate all your fantasy leagues. It's going to help you dominate daily fantasy. We got NBA DFS going down to the wire, and of course, player props. Walter had a Jason Tatum prop in Game 4. It was over 5.5 rebounds. He had 7 rebounds in the first half. He finished with 11. Wasn't even close. That was the last prop I did. But don't get me started on the Celtics. All right, we have 4 picks left in this draft. We're headed towards the end. It's probably going to be all running backs, receivers. I feel pretty comfortable sticking with 2 QBs with the 2 QBs that I have. I wouldn't hate snagging Jameis, though, for the Michael Thomas stack. Who do you guys think has a better season this year in fantasy football? 2 guys that are not on a team right now. Chat, let me know what you think. Who do you think has a better season this year? Jarvis Landry or Odell Beckham Jr.? Jarvis Landry or Odell Beckham, both free agents. Jarvis Landry's healthy. Obviously, Odell tore his ACL in the Super Bowl, so he's not going to be healthy right away. But he will play this season. Who has a better fantasy season? Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham Jr. OBJ, the TikTok chat is saying, I'm so in so much pain with the Celtics game. Landry is what the YouTube. Any locks this evening? I got no locks. No locks for you this evening, Kev. Though, I will say, which NBA game is tonight? I think it's the Heat, right? I keep thinking that the Joel Embiid prop is a lock, and it's not. But the points prop for Joel has been getting lower and lower. And he puts up so many shots. OBJ will have to work real hard, come back. Does he really want it? He's like 30. Yeah, that's fair. He did just win a Super Bowl. But I think I would probably go with Jarvis Landry over Odell as well. KJ Hamler gets drafted, by the way. Marvin Jones goes 1 pick before me. I get sniped on every one of these lives. I swear they're watching the live. All right, we're taking Jarvis. Hopefully Jarvis signs with the Packers. How are best ball drafts different than non-best ball? Jim, is a great question. Let me run through it in literally 30 seconds. In a best ball draft, all you do is the draft. There's no in-season management. I'm about to be on the clock. Let me run through this in a second. I don't want to take Marlon Mack again. I don't really want to take Odell, though, either. Going with Jamal Williams instead. All right, best ball draft. This is exactly how best ball is different than non-best ball. Best ball, there's no in-season management at all. There's no trading. There's no adding. There's no dropping. There's no starting. There's no sitting. Your best lineup is automatically submitted for you at the end of each week. That's why it's called best ball. Your best lineup is automatically submitted. So all you do is the draft, which makes it a very low maintenance thing. Again, you can do these on Underdog. If you use code Walter when you sign up, you'll get a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. This is a $25 best ball draft. There'll be $5 tournaments that you can win hundreds of thousands of dollars on. You can also do a non-tournament draft for as little as $3. But the reason I love best ball so much is it is like batting practice for drafting. I'm getting my batting practice in leading up to my high stakes, normal, traditional season-long drafts in August. And I gained such a good sense of average draft position and general value of players by doing a lot of these drafts. Nothing tells you more clearly about the value of players than real drafts with real money on the line. The mock drafts just don't do it for me. So that's why I love it. But that's how best ball works. And that's why I'm able to do 300, 500 best ball drafts in an offseason because I don't need to do any in-season management. All I'm doing is draft, and then I'll never think about it again until I win the $2 million prize. Elijah Moore or Garrett Wilson with a better season. I like this one, Kev. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be very close. I would argue it will start Elijah Moore. Like the first half of the season, it'll be Elijah Moore. And then by the end of the season, it'll be Garrett Wilson. It depends how soon that switch happens in my mind. I think if I had to take one, though, it would probably be Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is very good. The Jets had a very good draft. The Jets fans have a lot of reasons to be excited. They're not going to make the playoffs this year, almost definitely. But the good news for the Jets, you're going to find out about Zach Wilson this season. This season. There's not any excuses for him. And that's huge. You need to find out about Zach Wilson sooner than later. You don't want to be in the Daniel Jones situation. Every year, the Giants tell themselves, this is the year. This is the year we're going to find out about Daniel Jones. He's surrounded with talent now. And then at the end of the year, did we really surround him with enough talent? Maybe we need one more year to figure it out. That's not going to be the case with Zach Wilson. We're going to know. If he doesn't improve this year, you got to move on from Zach Wilson. I know year 2 might seem early for that, but you got to understand Zach Wilson was pretty bad last year for the large bulk of the season. He needs to take a step forward. With the weapons he has, he should be able to do that. He arguably has a top 10 supporting cast, and they're all really young too. Like there's a young, bright, talented core for the Jets that Zach Wilson needs to take advantage of. And I think he can. I think that it's very possible that he does. Because, again, he does have the surrounding supporting cast. But, yeah, I would say Garrett Wilson over Elijah Moore this season and seasons to come. But Elijah Moore is good, man. Elijah Moore is very good. I'm just very high on Garrett Wilson in general. Yeah, so more or less, Jim, more or less it'll be the same. Obviously, there's going to be some slight differences. Guys that, people view as boom bust typically get drafted earlier. Like you see McCole Hardman's taken in the 11th round here. He's going to be undrafted or drafted really late in season-long leagues. Because guys like this, with how this works, you don't need to guess which weeks they're going to go off, right? You just automatically, your best lineup submitted for you. So as long as there's a few weeks McCole Hardman goes off, he's probably going to return some value here. So that it's a little bit different kind of as you get later in the draft. But the bottom line is still you want the guy scoring the most fantasy points. And so more or less will be the same. Tyler Huntley just got drafted. What is this guy doing? Oh, he has Lamar and Tyler Huntley as his only 2 quarterbacks. I do not like that strategy at all. If Lamar Jackson gets hurt, this guy is done. Like, his team is done. Tyler Huntley is not carrying your squad as the sole quarterback on your team. You might as well draft an actual second quarterback. Makes no sense. Okay, we are on the clock again. This has got to be a receiver. Isaiah McKenzie looks like got snagged. We're going with Nick Westbrook-Akine. He's going undrafted in most leagues, which is why I like trying my last round pick. I like being a guy that isn't drafted in most other leagues. He could easily be. Right now, we have him pegged as the number 3 receiver for the Titans. Obviously, they're a run-first team. But he's one injury away from being a top 2 receiver. And one of those receivers is already recovering from an injury, Robert Woods. He's also very young. And I liked what we saw of him last year at times. All right, we are back on the clock. I don't really hate Nelson Aguilar either. Jared Goff is still there too. I'm going with Goff. We're going 3 quarterbacks. I know I said I wasn't gonna, but he's still there. We got him 20 picks after ADP. I already had DJ Chark as well. So I got the Trevor Lawrence and Christian Kirk stack and the Jared Goff DJ Chark stack. It's much safer to go with 3 quarterbacks in this league. The other last comment I have about best ball and why I love best ball so much is roster construction is actually the most important thing, especially when you're doing as many drafts as I am. Roster construction matters so much. If you aren't drafting the right amount of each position, you are at a huge disadvantage. Nico Collins would be a fine last round pick. Do you think there's a player in the NFL that you do not know? Yeah. There are some. But you got to get pretty far down the depth chart, at least in the offensive skill position players, especially. You're going to have to get pretty far down the depth chart for me to never have heard of a player. Like, probably earliest I wouldn't know is wide receiver 4 or tight end 3 or like running back 5 or something. Like, definitely the starters I know. I'm literally staring at them all day. This is my job. Are there trades in this league? No, there's no trades. No starts, decisions, no trades, nothing. There's nothing. There's no trades. Eno Benjamin's another one of my favorite late round picks. I have him pegged as the number 2 running back for the Cardinals, which historically is a role that gets some touches. So I'm excited for Eno Benjamin in the last round too. I didn't take him this time. But my final roster construction here, I ended with 3 quarterbacks, 6 running backs, 7 receivers, 2 tight ends. Thanks, Kev. I appreciate it. Guys, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you are tuned in on the YouTube Live. Really do appreciate it. We'll be back live some point next week. Thank you for tuning in. That's my time. We will be back soon. Again, thank you so much for your time, guys. Nothing is more valuable than your time. So really, thank you for spending some time with me today. Have a good one, guys, and we'll be back soon.